So he knows.
Your handwriting is beautiful.
Thank you.
Teacher problems.
Yeah, I would never be able to be a teacher because I can't write straight or nicely on a board.
Yeah, it's an acquired skill for sure.
Do you have a chalkboard or do you have like the Promethean boards?
I have the newest smart board you can get.
On the market?
Do you remember
wrote
when
an
those
essay
came out? Oh, nice.
and got the newest smart board. And then I also have
You wrote-
marker board and chalkboard.
You
I
wrote
wrote
an
an
essay
essay.
about why I need this board.
I did.
I remember
Because
when
mine was a piece of junk, and I called it the dumb board because you would like write here, and it would like put a mark in the corner, and it was on my nerves. So
Oh man, those kids are lucky.
Hey, Katie.
hi,
Katie is here.
She's here.
I'm here
In the flesh, live. Not through a phone.
No, it
How's
feels
it
great.
feel? Yeah.
It feels great. I feel more present, included.
We are gonna actually slash your dad's tires, so you can't go home.
You're never leaving.
If I didn't have to work, I might just stay here forever.
I know.
But we're gonna make the best of it while I'm here.
We just had our baby Christmas party last night.
Amazing. It was very crazy.
I know. For a minute there, it was chaotic.
I was getting overstimulated.
Yes. I think we all were,
Yeah.
including the baby.
Yes. There
Yeah,
was a lot
we
happening.
took some pictures. My cousin did. Shout out Joey Lynn Photography.
Yes, seriously.
And they're all on their bellies, and it looks so cute. But they were screaming bloody murder. And You
Yeah.
just can't even tell in the
What you
pictures.
didn't know is they were screaming their heads off, and I was jumping around like a maniac. It's a baby party. It's a baby party.
No, we really were.
It's what you do for the pic, you know?
Something very big today. Cash is 6 months
Oh my
old.
God, I will cry.
No, I'm like getting
he's, like,
emotional
crawling.
right now.
How
He's
are
about-
we here? How?
No, I don't.
And he's crawling. Like, he's
Literally-
like trying to crawl.
Yeah, I'm not ready for that.
No.
I'm ordering a playpen today.
That big one?
Yeah.
Where are you going to put it?
Where my tree is. In that
Oh,
corner.
yeah.
Yeah.
So when you take your tree down, I'll take my tree down, and I'll also put my
And we'll all have them in our corners.
yes.
I need it because
Yeah,
what am I
me
going to
too.
do?
I
He
mean, he
literally-
moves from one end of the room to the other somehow.
I don't know. It's insane.
He needs his
He was
own-
actually moving like his legs
Yeah.
and crawling for. I told
It's
you.
Lower
they're
his
not
crab.
Just keep lowering it all the way down.
They're not allowed to get bigger. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, we're gonna start solids today, I think.
That's
Oh, you didn't
awesome.
do it yet?
No.
Should we be there?
Should we all do it together?
Yeah.
We all three hold the spoon.
And Cash is just looking at us like, what
I feel like
the
Cash is gonna
hell?
love it.
I know. He's so ready. It's been me. I'm not ready.
He's a grown man.
Yeah. He stares at our food every bite we take. He's like,
Yeah.
give me peace.
I mean, it's a lot of work too. You're
It's just
making
another
your
thing.
own.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to make my own purees. I'm gonna try to do it in advance and freeze them. So then
Did you see that thing I sent about when you make it, pouring it in an ice cube tray?
I
and
ordered-
it makes them into like
Individual serving
cubes.
sizes. Yeah. I ordered from Amazon these silicone ones that are like circular-ish. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I
I'm
need to do
excited.
that.
Yeah. I hope.
I
hope
just
it goes
do
smoothly.
baby HelloFresh and order little spoons, and they make it for me.
That's amazing.
'Cause I'm lazy.
Yeah.
so.
No, I mean that's
It's
great
still
that
fresh.
that there's options. The food book I was reading talked a lot about how there's so many options now that companies have options with fresh food.
Yeah.
Because
I
a
mean,
lot of
it
the
comes
times
with like a cool, like how HelloFresh comes. It has like an ice pack in there,
Oh.
and you
on the
can,
rocks.
yeah, and it's good for like 2 weeks in the fridge, and then you can freeze it. So,
Wow.
yeah,
I mean that's a good alternative with your busy schedule. So
yeah. Eventually, I'd like to make it, maybe in the summer when I'm off. But
well,
well,
by then
he'll
he'll
be
be
done.
eating food.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll just be eating
I
what
feel
you
like
eat.
puree stage doesn't even last that long.
No.
I've
it
already
doesn't.
done solid food a couple times because of Dale's
That terrifies me.
trying to get him to gain weight.
Terrifies.
Toast was the most insane.
Toast is the most.
Whenever Dale was eating toast,
We were all having a mini heart attack.
yeah, I was like, "How is he eating?" I called
He
my
loved
mom.
it.
Mom, Dale's. I was like, "Dale's eating toast today."
He loved it.
She calls her mom first.
every time.
Just wanted to give you an update.
Yeah.
He hated banana.
Really?
Like, he was like, the
Gagging.
second
Is
it
it like
hit
kind
his
of
tongue.
acidic maybe-ish?
I think it was the texture because he
Ooh,
hated
yeah.
avocado too. Like even touching the avocado, he was like moving his hands like that's disgusting. So
Keep trying it.
Oh, yeah. 30 times each
30.
food.
That's
Wow.
insane.
You have to offer food 30 times before you can say they don't
I
like
wish
it.
I would have known this stuff with Basil. Like, I swear I gave her like puffs at like 6 months and she gagged them. Like, why isn't she eating them?
Yeah, and gagging's good.
Chew it.
Gagging's just their way. Like, it's a new texture and a new thing they're exploring. But it's scary when you're a mom and you're like, what's going on?
Well, yeah, there's such a fine line between gagging and choking.
Yeah.
And you gotta act quick
Yeah.
when it's to the point of choking. So that's why I'm terrified.
Well,
I don't know if
we'll
I'm a
help you.
baby-led weaning mom. I don't know. We'll
It's
see.
hard.
I'll start with the
It's hard.
puree. See how it goes.
But they all eventually are baby-led weaning
You're
by
right.
one.
You're right.
Yeah.
We'll be giving them French fries, like
Yeah, what you're eating.
whatever you're eating.
Mhm.
So
Well,
we'll get there.
Yeah.
talking about preparing, because I feel
Yeah.
like I read up a lot on baby-led weaning and stuff. But today we're talking about breastfeeding.
Yeah, it's pretty on topic with food as we're introducing solids. What starts it all is from the boob.
Yeah, for all three of us. I feel like we all went in knowing we wanted to breastfeed or try at least, and all three of us had such a different experience.
I went in like breastfeeding's my only option, and I remember like in hindsight thinking about it, the pediatrician or not my OB, is there anything you want to ask me? I'm like, yeah. How do I totally breastfeed this baby? She's like, well, we'll see when the baby's here, and I'm like, I should have
Really? I feel like they
because-
pushed it more.
I feel
to
like
me.
because the OB, they're just kind of there for like your pregnancy and
Mm.
they're like, you know, what can we do to prepare, like help you out? And I'm like, I want to know like what I can do to like strictly breastfeed this baby, because I only breastfed Basil for about 10 or 12 days, maybe 2 weeks, because it was the same situation. I wasn't producing enough. I went to the doctor. They're like, you're starving your baby. You need a supplement. And like those just hearing the word supplement is just like broke my heart.
Yeah.
I was like, if I'm going to introduce formula, like, why am I doing this?
Right. Why do it at all?
And this was 5 years ago. So I had no support. I had no idea what I was doing. I knew nothing about breastfeeding, but something that I think Kayla talked about before were those spinal headaches. I think from the epidural.
Oh, yeah.
I never realized I was getting those because I would get these massively bad migraines after I had Basil, and I thought it was just because I wasn't sleeping. And right when I would put Basil on the breast, the headache would go away. And it was like the most euphoric, amazing feeling ever. And I was like, I love this. Like, I feel great. Like, this is such an amazing bonding
I had to
experience.
stop you. I'm sorry. Can you turn off the heater?
I sure will.
Totally forgot to do that before.
But
Wow.
yeah, it was just one of those things that like I wanted to do it so bad, and then it just got to a point they're like, you need a power pump, you need to do this, like you need to be pumping after every feed, and I was like,
Overwhelming at the beginning.
yes.
Yeah.
And that's how it was with Basil, and I was like, I'm not going to be sane. Like, I will not get sleep, I will not eat. Like, how am I? She's awake every hour and a half, so in my head I was like, I just can't do this. Like, I was like, for my own mental health, like, I'm just going to give her formula because it's going to be easier for everybody.
Well, and I know going into it, like talking about not having support, I wanted to be prepared. So I actually saw a lactation consultant before I went.
Okay.
So if you're a Southern Maryland listener, because you're listening as a fan of mine, we have something called Milky Moms that they just opened up in our area, and they
That's
take
awesome.
insurance. Your first 5 visits are completely free, and then they have like
Wow.
support groups after that are free. So I had a class, it was an hour long, we Zoomed, and she walked through breastfeeding, things, latching, best way to get started, like how to get them latched as soon as you give birth, that like first skin to skin, how to latch them then, all the things to look out for, clogs, all these things. So I was like,
You knew what you were-
ready.
yeah.
I had books. I was ready going in. And I think that's like so important because breastfeeding is not talked about in our society. It's just assumed you should do it and frowned upon if you don't, but nobody really
No.
tells you what to do going in.
Yeah, and it's like with the pumping and everything, I feel like I've gone through almost every single pump that's out there. And then there's other people like okay, so Kayla like always pumps, and Sam almost
Never.
She did
yeah.
what I did once a day.
once a
That's what I
day. So you never know actually how much you're going to produce.
And I feel like not only is breastfeeding not talked about enough, but pumping, because that is
Pumping
its
is hard.
own thing. It is so
Washing
hard.
pump parts is annoying.
It's the worst thing in the world.
The bottles, the pump parts, and then it's like something I really struggled with was with Cora. It was the same thing, not producing enough, and they're like, you need to pump after you feed her. I just fed my baby and she's laying on my body.
Yep.
And
Let me
like,
move her.
I would be crying because I'm like, I have to move her off of me right now because I just want to sit here and I just want to hold her and I'm exhausted. I don't want to do anything.
She's most likely going to wake up.
And
Yes.
see, people don't tell you the alternatives. Like, we talked about the Haka, and we talked about little last episode laughing, like how I sent a video actually of how to put the Haka on.
Yeah.
But the Haka saves you because you're collecting extra milk at the same time you're feeding your baby, so that when you're done, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Like, and I collected more with that than I did pumping sometimes.
A lot of people do.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
They
I
should
feel
put that in like, the Haka should be in like that little like baby stuff that they give
Starter
you. At the,
pack. Yeah.
yes.
Oh,
They
yeah.
give you-
Everybody go home with a Haka.
Yes.
2, actually. You really need 2.
Yeah. Because you have to wash it.
Yeah. Yes.
Well,
Constantly.
let's each touch on, because I said we all have different experiences. So I feel like, Izzy, you went in wanting to strictly breastfeed and found out pretty quickly you couldn't. So you were kind of the undersupply and having to supplement, and the mental battle of doing that. Not mental battle, but feeling
Not enough.
you battle. Yes,
Yeah, it was a lot.
Your mental health and breastfeeding is so connected after
Yep.
you have the baby, and nobody talks about that side of it. Like, feeling inadequate if you're not providing enough. And Courtney, you went through that too, not even
Yep.
realizing you weren't making enough.
Yep.
And then mine was kind of the polar opposite of the oversupply. So I feel like, Izzy, you should start with that experience, realizing you had to
Yeah.
supplement, and how it went for you.
Yeah,
Well,
because you just mentioned how with Basil.
Yes.
So you kind of have that mindset going into your second baby, like
I'm gonna
I'm
do
in the
it
back
this
of your
time.
head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just hearing the word formula, like I probably sent you that video. Remember they sent me home with all those formulas because in the beginning, my first hospital trip, they sent me home with breast milk. They let me supplement with breast milk,
Right,
which
I
I
remember
loved. But it was hard because I was like, what if we run out of this? Because they're like, well, you just got to get your milk flowing. And the one thing that we all
Like
hear that is so, I'm so sick of hearing it, is your body will produce what your baby needs. That
Not
is
always
not
true.
true. It's not true.
Yeah, and that's what my journey
Yes.
was set on.
It is
That's why I
so
was so set on
frustrating to
it.
hear that with like a new mom too. Like your body produces. Okay, so I'm only producing 5 milliliters, and that's my baby's still hungry. Am I just supposed to not feed her? Because that's not. And like they say, size doesn't matter. I know we both are like a little bit smaller, but I truly believe that like size does matter.
Well, everybody's breast has a different capacity, so it's not
Yes.
so much the size of your boob, but it's
how much it holds.
each boob only can
Right.
hold so much. So some people have a larger capacity and some people don't. So that's why like they try to tell you pump more frequently because you can empty, but it's the society's so toxic because you're in these breastfeeding groups and they're like, I drank body armor and the next day I pumped 15 ounces off each
I
boob.
ate
No, you didn't.
Ben and Jerry's oat ice cream, and I produce 8 ounces. No.
Oreos, life
This
changing.
Yeah.
Wendy's Frosty, I pumped.
I
12
smelled this
ounces.
oat eraser.
Like,
No.
it doesn't help. I mean, it does in the fact that more calories and more
Yeah.
hydration will make you produce more, and that's all of that is. But it's so toxic because then you do it, you don't produce more, you feel inadequate.
Yes.
Why am I not making more? Why am I not making enough?
That's-
Why is this not working?
So
Yeah.
for me, even, especially with Cora, like a lot of you guys talk about when your milk comes in, how your boobs are so hard and how it's the worst.
Worst
That-
experience of my life.
Mine wasn't that bad.
That
Oh my
never
God.
happened to me.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Ever. My boobs never got hard. And that's like, my mom told me that too. And it made me feel like crap because I think it was like day 5 or 6. She's like, Izzy, you should be in so much pain right now. Your boobs should be leaking to like this and that. And I'm like, I don't know what you want me to do. Like, they're not. And I know I had her early. She was 3 weeks early. So just because I was constantly feeding her, nursing her, pumping, my boobs never really had time to like have that time to fill up. And even with you said, oh, every 2 hours, no matter what, I had to
yeah.
pump.
I had to.
I think that's kind of like with my body. It took longer for my milk to fill up because even now I could go almost a whole day.
No.
But like there will still be something in there for her at night because we mostly do night nursing now. it took me a long time to get to the system where I was happy and okay, because I'm like, I want it all from me. You know, I want to be exclusively.
Who doesn't? Right.
Well,
That's the goal, right? You want to be able, it's what you're built to do.
Yes.
And everybody knows breast is best. I mean, fed is best, but breast
just
milk
like-
has the most nutrients.
Yeah.
You're communicating with the baby when they're sick. You give them antibodies. So like it is essentially the best, but they're still going to thrive.
No matter what.
Right.
And a lot of people were telling me, because, I was like vlogging about it on my Snapchat, and I got a lot of like other opinions that were frustrating. They're like, my baby was formula fed and she's fine. Like, yes, I know that.
And that's okay.
But what about the topics of like the people that can't produce enough and still want to breastfeed? Because that's me. Because my pediatrician would say that too. Like, around 3 months, if you're still not producing enough, you can decide then if you still want to breastfeed. Like, yes, I do.
Right.
Like, I don't. Like,
it's not a question.
And you guys see now, it's 6 months in. Like, we have it down. She drinks bottles during the day. She has formula mostly during the day, during at school. And I nurse her to go to sleep. She's very, like, comfort nursing. That's, like, what helps her go to sleep. And then I don't have to make bottles in the middle of the night.
Huge.
It's huge, which is, like, my favorite thing. Because especially yesterday, I think I fed her a bottle. We were at the party all day. I only nursed her for that nap. She took a nap with Dale, which was so cute.
Cutest thing in the world.
And then even by the middle of the night, I think like 1 a.m., my boobs were pretty full enough for her to sleep with me until 8 o'clock this morning. So...
Well, and I know prior to having the baby, like, we used to send videos of, like, people with the milk stashes, and I remember being like, I want this or bust. Like, if I don't have this,
if this is
I don't
not
want
it, I don't want
I
it.
remember
She
you
had
saying
8
that.
ounces in her mom cozy. It was like, and I thought if I wanted this enough, if
You can make it happen.
If I worked hard enough, if I did enough.
Yes. And you guys saw me, I changed my diet. I had all the drinks. I had all the food. I was making myself sick drinking these lactation drinks. And I even went to like the LC the one day. She could see like I had not gotten sleep. My like, I had bags under my eyes. Like I was in tears. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Like why? I want this so bad. Like what? And then it's like the same thing. Like I can't even pump because, I have so much. And I'm like, this just isn't fair.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense because I want it so bad. I want the freezer stash. I want this. I want the oversupply.
So what do you think it was that kind of switched it in your head of I am enough and
I
getting
think
more comfortable with
I
it?
don't know if I talked to like my doctor or like I was looking up a lot like on TikTok like undersupply, and I came across a video of a woman that was kind of like that, had an undersupply, and she's like, this is how I feed my baby as an undersupplier, and it was formula and half milk. And she would do nursing, and she's like, you really just have to get into this mindset that like just because all of what your baby eating isn't from you, like they're still getting that and you're still getting that bond.
Right.
And I kind of switched my mindset is I kind of have it really good. Like I don't have to worry about the oversupply. I don't have to worry about pumping every 2 hours. I can send her to school with formula. I can send her with Dylan or my mom with formula. And I'll still be able to nurse her at the end of the day, or I can still nurse her at night. Like we have the best of both worlds that I don't have this burden on me, like other than I'm really leaky all the time. Like I'm gonna have to wear breast pads for a year.
Is so,
I'm
it just
so
doesn't
leaky.
make sense because you were just saying how you never ever felt full.
No, I don't ever feel full. So does it leak out?
Somebody who knows.
Does
I'm
it
always-
leak out? Please let us
I am always leaking, like always. Like I have to constantly.
How do you make it stop? You can't. You don't.
And that's why, I mean, even when I'm done, I'm like, what am I gonna, I'm like, I feel like I'm still gonna be leaking. I need to wear like breast pads at work or it'll leak through my shirt.
And that's so,
Not,
and
like,
I've never
drenched.
leaked. I've literally, maybe like one time.
Like, is there something in my nipple that's like not keeping the milk in?
Do you have more open ducts?
That's what I mean. Like, it's, I don't, and like I would leak while I was pregnant too.
What?
Yes. I'd have a wet shirt.
What?
Yeah. And so I think it's crazy that you don't leak.
I've never. Literally.
Have you squirted? Like, do you still have any milk?
No.
Because you do.
Yeah, a ton.
What?
Oh yeah. Could squirt across the room right now.
Shut up. Go feed my baby. No,
I
Get
it
up
really
there.
does. Yeah.
Really?
Mhm.
And you are
So-
at least a month.
Oh, well over. I stopped at 3 months. He's almost 6 months
Oh,
old. So
wow.
it's been 3 months. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I have a friend, I'm not going to name her here, but she still has milk and her baby's about to turn 4.
I know. I was gonna say, so before I was even pregnant,
What?
before I was even pregnant,
I
I
don't
actually
think I
produced
do.
milk. Like I had to go to a breast specialist because
What?
I was like leaking from my boob and went to the doctor. Like, what is happening?
wrong?
And they tested it, and it was milk. And he was like, I don't know. You need to go to somebody.
What do you mean you don't know?
There was like
So-
a certain hormone.
Yeah. So I went. I forget what it was.
It
What
starts with
hormone.
a P.
Yep. I can't remember, but
It's not Pitocin.
no, it's not
Definitely
Pitocin.
not potatoes.
Progesterone. Is it that one?
Oh, potest.
I don't know, but whatever it is,
gonna
Izzy's
look
gonna
it up.
look it up.
Google it.
My body was like had an overproduction of that. Sorry.
Whoa.
What was that?
Me cheersing with my coffee.
So yeah, I
yours
produced
overproduction started before Dale was even born.
Prolactin
prolactin
and
Oh.
oxytocin. So whenever you're like really down, that's what I tell people. Whenever you're like so stressed out about the milk thing,
It
because my
hurts
friend
you.
just had a baby and her LC was telling her a whole bunch of crazy stuff. And she was like plugged into her pump, but she has the LVs. And she just had her baby like 2 weeks ago. And I was like,
It's not a good
use
pump to
those
use for that.
LVs.
Oh well, see, I was gonna say
It's-
they say
yeah.
it's not powerful enough.
They
if you're
say it's
trying
not
to
powerful, but
increase-
she has the milk.
oh, gotcha.
But her out, and I'm like, she hate like the thought of her being plugged into the wall is making
Yeah.
her rage.
Right.
And I'm like, use the LV.
Oh yeah, that's
Because even if you're getting a half ounce more in the plug-in, your mental health,
that's
that
what's important.
you can
Strapped to
hold
that.
your baby, you can do things.
Yep.
You're not like, you just like feel so angry. And
Yes.
especially remember I had to put the baby socks over my milk things. Like I wish I had
What?
because she was so worried
Okay,
about
so I had
watching
the
it.
Spectra, and something in the beginning, my neck is breaking from just looking down to see how much milk is coming out, like the little
Oh,
drips.
oh, I would literally get my phone.
Yeah, me
and
too.
be like,
same, and it's
how
like
much is anything coming out?
They told me to put her baby socks over it, so I wasn't watching it. And it was just something like that. They're like, get your mind
'Cause you
off
were
of
so
it,
obsessed over
relax.
it.
They're like, drink a glass of wine. They're like, stop just looking at it, which is really hard to do. So with the
So hard.
LVs, I wish I had that in the beginning because
You just pop 'em
can't
in.
see them.
Yeah.
You can't see them. And it's like, you're pumping and you can do other things. You can kind of just like forget about it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even then, like, I still, like, part of me still wishes, like, oh, every little chunky roll, like, I wish that was from me. But, like, a lot, like, I still produce about a quarter of what she's drinking.
And
And I don't have to get up at night.
Yeah.
And-
Any bit helps.
Because the pumping in the middle of the night,
If I can
No.
breastfeed
No.
just to put her
I don't
down to
miss that at
sleep
all.
and not wake up at night, yes.
it's worth it.
It's worth it. And it's just, like, something I genuinely enjoy doing. Like, I really...
And that's what it's about. I feel like us moms we're new moms. You have so much pressure after your baby's born.
There's so
and
many other
breastfeeding is a huge mental load. With having oversupply, even at nighttime when he started sleeping like 3 hours, I
couldn't.
still had to get up every
Yeah.
2 hours and pump. And I tried to extend it. I would get clogs. It was a constant painful.
You were on...
It wasn't even worth it to get the hour of sleep if you
No.
knew you were going to get a clog.
No.
It wasn't.
Like I would wake up in so much pain, and I didn't leak, oddly enough.
That doesn't make sense to me.
No, but like when I say my boobs were like
Rocks.
massive
We saw them.
rocks.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I look back at pictures and I'm like, Jesus. Like
Yeah.
I mean now they are stretch marks and saggy and ugly. So I mean,
Which
do
you
miss
know.
that. But you know, I told Jacob, I'm like, take a good look at them because I'm never gonna look like this again. That's for sure. Like this is
all
it.
the pictures you want, buddy.
And
I'm
I
getting
know,
stretch marks on mine too. Mine are
Yeah.
new. I don't know what it is. I'm just started getting some stretch marks. Like I think they grew a little bit, but I also just I don't really know what's going
Well,
on.
and I know Courtney, you like exclusively breastfed. You pumped.
She pumped a lot.
Actually, yeah, you did pump a lot.
She
But
was a pumper.
you were realizing like Cash was like screaming
Mm-hmm.
at your aunts and things. So what was that like? Tell
Yeah.
us about that.
So it's funny because at the beginning of it, before Cash was born, I kind of I wasn't decided on it. I was just more like, oh, I'm going to try it. Hope if it works out, cool. It's all different. Whatever you get to that moment, you're like, no, this is, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And I think I said this in the last episode, he was latched right away, so I didn't have any issues there. Didn't have like a tongue tie or anything, thank God. That I feel like that alone helped the process. But yeah, I didn't know when I was supposed to start pumping. I don't even remember. I think it was 3 weeks old, I want to say, when I started pumping. I didn't know what kind of pump. I really didn't even
This is
research a
crazy to
pump.
me too, because both of my babies I was pumping in the hospital.
Well, lactation consultants differ very strongly on that point.
Yeah.
Because I know even in our group, people were asking. So the lactation consultants I go to, the people who run it are nurse practitioners, and they're also lactation consultants. And then they have other people that are there. They seemed very knowledgeable to me. And their point to me was to avoid an oversupply, which is so funny because I got one anyway, so I don't think it matters.
I think it was inevitable. Yeah.
To not pump for the first 6 weeks if possible. So I did not. I pumped once a day, and I didn't even start pumping once a day until he was probably a month old because I was so scared of getting an oversupply. So,
Yeah,
don't
Craig's
do that. I talked
As
to
he
my
was
hands
already
too much.
choking on your milk and drowning in it.
Oh yeah, I could talk. Yeah.
and she will
I
talk
will
about
talk.
it for
I
days.
will.
It will
Sorry,
be talked
Courtney,
about.
Please finish your
no,
story,
Craig's
because I love
cousin,
yours.
Katie, who I talk about all the time, she was a lactation consultant, and I remember her telling me, wait to pump because you want your body to start producing what it needs to. Wait to do a bottle. You don't want to wait too long to do a bottle, but you don't want to do it too soon because confusion with the nipple. So yeah, there's just all these things, all these different opinions, and you're like, which is right?
Yeah.
I did not research pumps much at all. I knew my insurance covered it, so I just did whatever was covered, and I didn't have to pay extra for, because again, at that time, I was like, if it works, it works. If not, cool.
Formula's great too. And you
What was
go
your
into
pump?
Yeah.
Tell us what your pump was.
My pump was the what was it?
The Medela?
Yeah. It was a wall. Well, it wasn't a wall pump. It was power. Chargeable.
My Lancino was the same thing. I
Yeah.
didn't have to plug it in.
But it was a wall pump in the sense that it had like the whole pump situation with the bottles hanging off of me like that.
And
I
it
remember
still has like a battery pack that you have to
No.
yours
No,
didn't.
mine was little. It was like handheld.
Oh.
Yeah, it was
Like
it
the
was cool.
LV.
And it came with
okay.
this lanyard. I could wear it around me. Not
Oh.
it was. I thought it was going to be more portable than it was, and it really
No,
wasn't.
because you still had to sit there and
Yeah.
Well, when you
I
have
had to-
things hanging
Yeah.
off of you, you're like hitting them.
I
if you try
remember,
to-
yes, I remember a couple of times because, as we've talked about before, Craig did not get much time off with me. So I was trying to figure, and even if he did, by that point, I wasn't even pumping yet. So I'm home by myself with the newborn, trying to figure out how am I going to pump after he's feeding to help my supply, because that's what our
when they
doctor
fall
said
asleep
too.
on you and all you want to do is cuddle.
When they're they're only sleeping for, well, Cash didn't really like to sleep not on me, so he barely slept if I would lay him down. So I was like, I'd lay him down, he'd wake up. I'm like, how am I supposed to pump? When do I eat? When do I do rest? When do I do laundry?
when do I
Everyone's
go
like,
to the
"Take a nap."
bathroom?
When do I go to the bathroom? When do I shower? Like, it was just so overwhelming. And I remember sometimes I was like, I'm not going to do it. I would try to do the pump after he ate because everyone's like, oh, you want to make sure you're empty. But I don't think you're ever really empty. Your body is constantly producing milk. So, I don't even
I
know
did that a
would
lot
help.
too. I remember you need to be empty yourself completely. And I'd be in the shower trying to I'm trying to empty myself so it'll fill up. But there's no filling up if I'm constantly doing it.
Right.
That was my problem.
Right.
There was nothing there at all because I never gave myself time to let them fill up.
Right. And yeah, again, who knows what is the best or right thing to do. But yeah, once I didn't really have the full freezer stash. I was able to put some aside for when I went back to work and Cash went to daycare. The first month I went back to work, it was like a phase back, so I didn't work full time up until the very end of the month. So my aunt watched him every day, and I sent her with milk, and I was like, this is what I produce.
It was 6 ounces, right?
No, it was 4 at the time.
3, 4.
Because I remember he would hold the bottle.
He doesn't even eat 6 ounces yet at a time. You mean
Well, I remember you would send the bottle.
of what I pumped? You mean?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Maybe it was 4.
It really my supply just it was up and
yours
down.
was very random.
It wasn't. Sometimes I'd be like, oh my god, guys, look at all this milk I got, and then other times
The
I'd be
milk
like,
spurts.
nothing.
Well, you should have ate
I
more
was-
Oreos
Stream spurts.
and drank more body
The stream
armor, Courtney.
spurts. More.
You should have
Oreos.
ate more ice
Shoot.
cream.
I mean, I was drinking the body armor,
Me too.
the coconut water,
Same.
like I
Liquid
found
IV.
these like granola bite thing, like everything.
Lactation
I got
bites.
that protein powder. Like
Yep.
I was trying everything. So I
Yep.
was like, I need to do this. Like,
And I remember your aunt has like 5 children, and she said that she thought Cash was hungry, and you're like, "There's no way." Because
no, so this is the other aunt. She has 2, but still.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember you being like, "She says he's still hungry, and I just
Yeah.
don't know what to do because
Right.
I'm not producing enough."
Right. And then I've heard stories that if you feed them more than 5 ounces at a time, their stomachs would stretch. Like,
Right.
again,
'Cause
all this
breastfed
information.
babies don't need that much.
Yeah.
But, like, what if they do?
And your body's supposed to build more protein in it and be thick, more
Right.
filling for them as time goes on. So you just don't know what is the correct. So I'm thinking all this stuff in my head, like, well, this is what I'm producing, so this has to be it. And it wasn't a true sign until I was going back to work and pumping throughout the day,
Yeah.
where I was physically seeing what I was producing, and it wasn't matching up to what he was eating. I would produce like 2 ounces at a time, then 1, then 3, then 4. And if he's eating 4 ounces every
Right.
couple hours, like I was not keeping up.
And then you went to Mexico.
Yep. Then I think it was a big wake up call for both Craig and I, because Craig was very supportive too, but he really wanted the breastfed option too. But it wasn't until we went to Mexico and we're alone with him for a full week. And my aunt kept telling me, like, I don't know, Cor, like, I think he's still hungry. And I'm like, nope, can't be. That's not it.
You're wrong.
Yeah, basically it. And
Peaceful.
she's like, I'm not trying to overstep, but like, he's really screaming. And I'm like, he's just a newborn. Newborns cry.
He's a cranky baby.
He's tired.
sometimes.
Put him to sleep.
What was the other thing? He's never been a good daytime napper. But so yeah, we went to Mexico, and that I took my pump, but I didn't even pump. I just wanted to relax on vacation. So I just strictly nursed him the whole time. And
And he was attached to that boob the entire time.
yeah, I mean, I fed on demand, really. And he was just the screams. I tell you, there were times I just had to like lay him down because I was like, I don't know what else to do for you.
Yeah.
And looking back at pictures of him, he was so small. I was like, wow. And then how he is now,
Oh,
unit.
yeah, he's a brick
Unit.
house. Literally a brick house.
It's crazy.
When I picked him up
I don't know where he
yesterday, I was
puts
like,
it.
what the heck? Like, he
My
is
arms are
heavy.
sore.
I didn't realize how small Dale was until I picked Cash up. I was like, dang.
I
is.
don't know where the weight is.
It's muscle. I think he's a
Yeah.
lot of muscle, obviously, with his strength. But yeah, so I think that was like Craig and I were just looking at each other like, what do we do? So we came home, and it was very much a mental battle. I had to get to the point, because everybody's telling me it's okay, Court. Like, my mom, she was so worried about me. She was like, you need to put yourself first. And I'm like, no, like, I'm very determined. Like, I want to do this for him. Like, this is what's best. And I would go back and forth. I'd be like, I'm quitting today. That's it. I'm done. And then the next day I'd be like, well, I can do this a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So it had to come down to me just coming to terms with that I wasn't going to produce enough for him, and that was okay. And we had to come up with other options. I mean, we said this 100 times. Katie's milk definitely held
That
us
entire
on.
moment, I have to say, was so wholesome to me. Just because
Yeah.
I know kind of how you are, Courtney. I know it was kind of hard for you to take it. And it was really hard for Katie at the time going through her stuff. And I'm like, I think this will be beneficial for both of
parties,
you.
yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
Katie needs somewhere to take this milk, and Courtney needs this milk. Like,
Yeah.
Cash needs it. And like, look how it worked out. I mean,
Yeah, because this was before we even started with formula yet.
Right.
yeah.
That we were using Katie's milk, and I was trying to find ways to ship it from Maryland, and thank God your mom came, because those
Yeah.
boxes
Patty
were-
to the rescue all the time.
thank God. But yeah, it's very much a mental thing,
Oh, yeah.
because and just it's just constant. You're just being the constant provider for your husband can change the diapers and
It's a different
wash
mental
pumps.
load. You're carrying that mental load of, on top of, how much caffeine have I drank today?
Yes.
What have I eaten enough?
I
What
could
am
use
eating?
another cup of coffee,
I need
but-
a coffee so bad, but I don't know if I should do it. It's too late in the day. Is it good?
Am I drinking enough water?
Constant. Your mind is constantly going about it.
And something else I just realized too, I was losing weight.
Yeah.
I was
Yep.
not physically able to keep up with what my body was producing. Like the calories you burn. That's why everybody said to me, they're like, "Oh my God, you don't even look like you just had a baby." I'm like, I'm constantly like,
Right, and also
My
that's not
body's-
a compliment, because I'm
No.
feeling too skinny and like
Yes.
I'm losing weight and I don't feel good and
and I don't want to be losing weight.
Right.
It wasn't like, this wasn't my whole like get your body back
Yeah.
thing. It was like, I'm just trying to
I'm
provide for
sure to
myself
survive.
and
Yeah.
my baby. And yeah, I mean, my postpartum appointment at 6 weeks, and I was like below my pre-pregnancy weight, and nobody said anything. I'm like, is this a problem? I feel like, um,
Yeah, it's you sure can.
Scoochie. Yeah, nobody was like, this isn't okay. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Things are going down. It's fine. We're just a little crooked now.
Yeah, when it comes to me, so Dale in the hospital, he latched, but we were having a super shallow latch, so I was experiencing.
Should we pause?
Or can we?
I mean, Craig can fix it, I guess.
Okay.
But right there.
Well, this could go one of two ways. We could have just lost 36 minutes of recording, and this is all for nothing. Or
so to start from the
For
top,
funsies.
I'm the undersupplier, Katie's the oversupplier, and Courtney's the just enougher.
I was not the just enougher, though.
yeah,
Turns out.
My wrap up for you, Courtney, was going to be so you supplemented with breast milk, and then
Your breast milk.
yeah.
Can you turn off the thing again?
What?
You hot?
It's loud.
Is it?
Yeah.
What
picks up.
made you, or what was kind of helpful for you in that switch? Like anything mental that helped you through it?
Us.
Or
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. You guys, because just having, like I said, I didn't know anybody else that breastfed well enough to hear their full experience. I just thought it was this like happy, beautiful, easy thing that just happened. So I wasn't prepared for all the difficulties and challenges and obstacles and getting mastitis twice, which literally is the worst thing in the entire world. I wish nobody to ever get that ever because it'll knock you on your ass for a straight 24 hours. But yeah, I think just having support and having people in my corner that knew exactly what I was going through to tell me that it's okay to have these thoughts and feelings and it's okay to come to terms with what you need to do for you and your baby.
It's okay to stop.
Yes.
For
and
both
it's
of
not
you.
just, yeah, you guys, like my mom too, Craig, like, because all moms want to put their baby first. You put your baby before you every single day of the week. And it's really hard to be like, no, I'm struggling. I need to do this for me because I'm not being the best mom for my baby.
right.
And I wasn't mentally there because I was just always worried about the next ounce of milk.
Right.
So, yeah, I think just having people in my corner and just seeing the fact that he wasn't getting enough from me, that I was like, okay, well, I need to do this for both of us at this point. So he's strictly, I mean, Katie found another stash of her milk at her mom's, so we'll have some of that. I think I'm going to use in his purees, but we're strictly formula fed now. He loves it. We picked a formula that Craig and I agreed on and felt comfortable with. Like we talked about before, there are so many options, which is amazing. And yeah, he was not picky about it. So we're lucky. Our daycare buys their formula that they
That's a
need.
blessing.
That's
It's
amazing.
huge. We love it there.
They'd
Like,
probably tell me, yeah, we don't buy that one because that's expensive.
I mean, ours
As a
isn't as
bougie
expensive.
baby.
Ours isn't as expensive as yours, but it's like $40.
Can you get
can.
yours
But yours is
like
a
at
big
the store?
can,
Just
correct?
Target.
How
Just
big's
Target.
your can?
Oh yeah, the $40 one's like
Yeah.
the bigger
Mine
one. Yeah.
lasts less than 2 days.
Oh, okay.
That's insane.
Disgusting.
Yeah, it's over $1,000 a month for formula.
Katie's like, is
Dale.
it a year yet? Hello.
Dale,
Ready for the
let's come on, man.
Yeah, from the start. I guess my story's a little different. So at the hospital, I was having shallow latch issues. So he was latching, but it was super shallow. And lactation consultants like shove him on your boob like aggressively.
Did they do the hamburger thing?
Yeah.
They're like, here,
But
do
he
this.
still was having things, and he ended up having a lip and a tongue tie.
Jesus.
So that was where it all started. So I had like super raw nipples, like from the start. So I had to use a lot of things to help me through. And then I got what's called a milk bleb, which is basically a clogged milk duct that makes like a white dot on your nipple and no milk comes out of that hole. And it was extremely painful. And it took me forever for that to go away. So breastfeeding was super painful for me for like the first 2 weeks. Then we got in a groove though, and like I said, when my milk came in, I mean, Jacob held me while I cried. Like that's how painful it was for
Wow.
me. They were hot all the time. They always were engorged. It was not a fun experience. I was run by the clock, like 2 hours on the dot. If I did not pump or nurse him, I was screwed. And if I nursed him, I had to use a hock on the other side because I would get 5 ounces off of the other boob every
He wasn't
time.
going to eat both, like,
No.
from both.
No, he couldn't.
Yeah.
I just had so many. I had an I can't think of the term. It's overactive letdown. That's what it is. So it's basically like when your letdown comes, mine would literally, he'd pull off because it would be like spraying so aggressively he couldn't like swallow it. He would like choke on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I dealt with that and having to get that figured out. So I had to hand express before even feeding him so that it would like release some of the pressure. So it was just constant. And it's funny because when you see TikToks with all the freezer supply, you don't see that side of it. Like people like brag about all of this milk. And I had to throw stuff in my freezer away. Like we were ready to buy a deep freezer because of how much milk that I had. But yeah, you don't see the kind of ugly side of it, that it's painful. And I got clogs constantly. Had to use Epsom salt in my Haka literally probably every other day. I would form a new clog.
Dang.
And one side of my boob would get hot. And I was so scared of mastitis, I would try to avoid it. It was
Thankfully.
it was constant. It was constant. And then I only pumped once a day. Because I was scared to pump because I was afraid I would produce more. Like I was like trying to avoid
It's
producing
insane, the
more.
difference. Yeah.
It was I don't know, but the breastfeeding part was beautiful because having milk, like I didn't have to worry about it. And I exclusively breastfed for 3 months. I never even unthawed milk. Like I never had to use any of the extra milk that I pumped. Every day I would collect with the Haka, and I'd usually bag like, I would probably say 20, 25 ounces extra a day.
Jeez,
and
man.
that was not pumping. That was just catching the letdown with the Haka.
It's insane.
So, yeah. So it was a
It's
blessing
impressive.
and a curse.
Huge.
And I guess what changed for me, Dale with his belly issues, at first they thought it was the overactive letdown. So we tried to like fix that. We tried to fix the lip and the tongue tie. Then it was, well, we think he has a dairy allergy. So then it was cut out dairy for 2 weeks. So I cut out dairy, and then they tested his poop again. There was still blood. So then it's a soy allergy. Cut out soy for 2 weeks. And I started cutting out soy, and like Courtney said, I felt like I was so mentally caught up in, what am I eating? Is this going to bother him? Everything I did in my day revolved around breastfeeding and feeding him and him getting sick, and is it my fault, and why is this happening to me? Like it was just constant. So I was coming home here to Pennsylvania for a week before I went back to work, and I was like, you know what, if I'm gonna quit, it's
Now's
gonna
the
be
time.
now when I have support and can figure it out. So I came home, I went and bought formula at the store, had about 16 mental breakdowns.
Yep.
You just beat yourself up.
Look, I'm getting emotional thinking
Yeah,
about
I
it.
know, me too.
It's
I'm an empath.
I know.
I just remember being there with you. It's hard.
oh,
Yeah. I
for being a men's
remember-
podcast studio, I mean,
Right?
they really got the
I remember feeding him for the last time and just being like, sorry, this is
Are you
it.
kidding me?
Because it was something so special to me. And mine wasn't even being mad at my body because I felt like my body was doing what it was supposed to do, but mine was a different reason. So then it was just, I am producing enough and I can't even do this. So it was the other side of, I don't even know. I don't
It's
know
just
how
unfair.
to, like why does this have to be happening? So anyways, it's a pity party, but
No,
So-
Oh, man.
when it came to quitting, God, it was the worst experience of my life. And it's so funny because Courtney, when you weaned, it was like nothing.
I was
Like,
scared.
yeah, because
I
of
was
what
like,
I went
what am I gonna have
through.
to do?
So I called my friend who's a lactation consultant, and I said, like, what's the best route to go with quitting? So she told me, you know, if right now you're feeding every 2 hours, try pumping every 3. Like, try to go an
As
hour
long
longer.
as you can, yeah.
So I tried, and I she told me just to pump until I felt relief. Well, I didn't use a pump very often. So I was pumping for 4 minutes, and I was getting a total of like 12 ounces in one pump session when it was 4 minutes. Like, it was like constant. Like,
and I just want to note, like, you're also not a bigger chested person. You know, the whole like size thing, how you think that the size of your boobs matters, like that.
Before pregnancy, I was a small B cup.
Yeah,
like
that's where I was too.
Yeah,
and
now
when it's so different, it's so crazy.
Like
the difference.
Saggy A.
I don't even know if I can fill a cup. I mean,
yeah,
Red Solo cup, I won't fill you up.
Yeah, but when I did that, was still collecting that milk, gave that milk to you as well, and then decided, you know what, I'm starting to take my medicine again. So I started taking my medicine. That's when I told you, like, sorry, I gotta dump the rest of this because I'm gonna start taking my medicine. But yeah, so I started trying to spread it out. Did the cabbage. That stinks. It like stinks. It did not help dry me up. Peppermint essential oils that my sister gave me. We did that. Couldn't even hold Dale. Like, that's how painful it was. Yeah. Like, they were so engorged. And I just kept trying to go as long as I possibly could without feeling like I was going to get mastitis or get another clog, and just kept pumping. But it took that full week for me to get semi-comfortable. And then I just started using my hand pump and would just literally try to do, like, just enough to be like, okay, they don't hurt anymore. And I used that. It took me probably a total of about 3 weeks for them to stop hurting and being painful. And yeah, now I still like produce milk. So
blows my mind.
Yeah,
I don't think I could.
You'll probably never stop.
Probably not.
Really?
No. I told you, I have a friend. She probably has high prolactin levels.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's just crazy how everybody's body's so different. And then then I went home and I have this picture where the freezer full of milk. I don't even know. I should have counted how many total ounces there were. I don't know. It wasn't like it was a lot. It wasn't for how short of a time that I did it, and with not pumping. If I would have pumped, I can't even imagine how much milk I would have had.
We would need multiple deep freezers. Yeah, probably.
So then to go home and be like, great, now I have all of this milk. What do I do with it? Like, and this was before me and you like figuring out shipping and everything. But it was just kind of like mad at my
it just sat there like situation. Taunting you like, hey, here I am, you can't use
and everybody's
me.
Like, well, why don't you use it for milk baths? I can't. Like,
if his body's reacting to it,
he's allergic to it. Like, he has eczema. If he gets the dairy on his skin, he has an allergic reaction to it. So it was literally just like, there's no use for this.
And that is blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah, literally. Quite literally.
Literally.
It's blood and sweat and tears.
All the three.
I mean, you're covered in milk constantly. And, like, I stunk like milk 24/7 because it was spraying everywhere. Like, it was hard for me to breastfeed in public. I did it, but I would have to have a breast pad in, and I would still leak through those because when he was feeding off one side, the other side was like,
I'm going to.
I need to release some. Like,
do you got twins? We feeding 2 babies? How many babies we got?
And it's so funny because my mom did not breastfeed and didn't know a lot about it, and like when I started just like breastfeeding, like we were walking around Target and I just started I'm like, Mom, you don't understand, I have to like I will literally,
it makes you sick
like,
whenever they're full like that.
I can't, I have to like, he's hungry and I can't.
What else are you gonna do?
You're
gonna go like
home like that's how bad it was. But yeah, even when I was like packaging the milk up for my mom to bring home, like I still kept 2 bags of it. Why? Like, it's going to go bad. It's like this attachment.
That, it is. It's
like,
hard. It came from you.
Did you look into making the jewelry?
I did. Yeah. I still probably should.
You definitely should. 100%.
But yeah, I'm like, why am I saving this? But at the same time, it's like, I worked so hard for this. Like, and yeah, Dale's on like an amino acid based bougie formula that luckily insurance covers some of it. But
God bless.
Yeah. I mean, fed is best. We know breast milk is, like you said, but sometimes that's not what's best for every baby, and for Dale it wasn't. So that's something I hope with my next child. I don't know if being an oversupplier with one kid automatically means your next one. Like, I don't know if there's correlation with that. I'd like to try it again. I feel like I learned so much from doing it.
Right. You can be better prepared.
But yeah, and being a school teacher, I'm like, there is no way I can go to school and have to pump every 2 hours. I would not have been able to. Like,
how? You barely have time to pee, if I recall.
Yeah, and you're only mandated to get a 30-minute break. Oh, Like I mean, that's not
You
enough.
would spend 30 minutes. I would spend up to 30 minutes pumping. I mean, by the time you got it all set up, pump it, put it in bottles. Yeah.
Right. And luckily I
Storing
didn't pump
it.
for 30. My longest pump session was 12 minutes. That's the longest I ever pumped. And that was with my LVs.
And you probably
and
got
they filled up.
triple the amount of what I would get in 30 minutes.
Like I never pumped to empty because
You couldn't.
Yeah. I feel like I was scared that my boobs would then, like, I tried to
communicate and think.
If I was pumping the once a day, I tried to only pump what Dale would have eaten. So like that's why my pump sessions were short, because if he ate 4 ounces, I tried to only pump 4 ounces and then be done, because I was like, I don't want any more. Like, this is I'm done. I don't want any more.
Right.
So yeah, it's just crazy how all of and nobody, like I said, nobody tells you about any of this. And it's we're getting better in society. I saw they just passed a law.
The pumping bill?
Yes,
the bill,
the
that
pumping
Sam sent us,
bill. Yeah.
That was amazing.
That's amazing.
Which will allow women, women to pump on the clock. Like, you don't have to get time added or take breaks. You shouldn't have to, because you're feeding your baby. Like, you shouldn't have to.
Yeah, and I saw it included teacher. There was like people that were excluded before, and teachers were one of the ones that were excluded. It was like teachers, firefighters. There were like certain groups, public servants, basically, like that's public service jobs. Because it is, I mean, it's inconvenient. I understand that, especially when you're a teacher. I mean, I would have had to have a substitute come into my classroom for me to go pump somewhere. But that's, I mean, people
you shouldn't not do it because of that reason.
Right.
You should have the support from your employer.
Right.
The other bill I think passed was to secure your job.
Yeah.
When you're pregnant. Pregnancy. Yep.
Pregnancy, which I was watching that TikTok. I was like, if you're nauseous, if you're that, and I was like, yes, like my feet were swollen. I was exhausted. I'm a server, but
you should have been able to had more breaks.
Yeah.
Or calling out. I remember I was sick for 2 months straight, and like luckily my boss is a mom of 2. The second she knew I was pregnant, she's like, if you need to take a break, take one.
Yeah.
Take a longer lunch. Like, if you need to take a nap.
Even now, Dale, with all these appointments, me and Izzy were just in the car, and I made an appointment, and they're like, can you do, because he's losing weight, they're like, can you do Tuesday, January 3rd, which is next week, my first day back to work after break. But you're like, sure.
Yeah.
Because
when else am I going to keep waiting?
Yeah. Like, meanwhile, I just missed 6 days in the past 2 weeks from him being sick, and nothing protects my job right now. Yeah. Like, thank God they need teachers, but they could be like, you're missing too much work. Bye. Nothing's protecting me from them doing that.
You shouldn't be put in that position where you have to choose your job over your baby, because it's going to be your baby every single day.
So
we're making steps.
We are. And I think having just people talk about breastfeeding and supporting each other and being able to like publicly breastfeed and not feel like people are
shooting daggers at you
or like you can't even see anything. Leave me alone. Like,
and I'm not pulling my boob out for you.
Right. And why are you looking?
Yeah.
And why are you looking?
Yeah.
Freak.
It's not for you. Are you hungry?
I remember when I was in,
do you want
stuff? Do you have cookies? I don't.
When I was in Mexico, that was like, and it's so sad because it was also kind of the turning point of me realizing that breastfeeding wasn't going to be
a long term.
Yeah. But I remember I was like, I'm doing it. I'm not getting a cover because it was too freaking hot. I was like, I'm freely and that moment changed it all for me. Like, I did not care when I would breastfeed in public.
You felt very empowered.
Yeah.
I remember you're like, guys, you'd be so proud of me.
I'm on the beach breastfeeding my baby. I don't care who walks by. Look at me.
Yeah. And it can be so beautiful, and it can also be so ugly at the same time. Like, there's just so much good and bad that comes with it. And I think for some people that it comes easy to, those are the ones who judge the hardest and not realizing
they don't know.
For everybody, it's not that easy. Some people struggle with the oversupply side. Some struggle with not making enough. And all of us are hard on ourselves no matter what situation that we're in. And I have a question to end to...
you and your questions.
I know, but this is funny. So how did your husbands feel about, like, breastfeeding, I guess? Like, I don't know.
Mine was so supportive. 100%. Yeah, he did a lot more than, like, as far as my pumps, like, took them out of the boxes, read the instructions, set them up for me.
Didn't he, like, print out a list?
Yeah.
It's still hanging up. That. He printed up my Spectra instructions to increase my supply. Like, was very, because he was home.
Feeding schedule.
Like, very, very, way more involved. Like, in the hospital, he was washing my parts for me, like, the bottles, super just, like, I don't know. He's way
It's
more like
so important.
so important, like more than I ever thought. That I was like, thank you, because like I don't know how to work these. He was like, oh well, you do this setting and this does this, and that's how you do it, and this is how you put this together. And I was like, thank you, like stuff like that. Very supportive. And I kind of like even was like, what if I posted pictures of me like breastfeeding? Like, how would that make you feel? He's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm like, on Facebook, like, would you care? And he was just like, I mean, I don't really see people doing it, but like, you know,
That's what you want to do.
whip that titty out, feed that baby. Like,
Yeah.
very, very supportive, very good. Still to this day, I think, you know, like I said, like I nurse Core to sleep. Like she can go to sleep without it, but like the easiest way to get her to sleep. It's our comfort. That's our bonding. And so it is harder for him to put her to sleep because it's just easier for me.
Mm-hmm. That was a big shift when I switched too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Dale, I had
Not just being able to put him on the boob.
Mhm.
That was
yeah.
probably the worst.
And I had to make like 2-ounce bottles before bed just because
Just to give
he
him a
was
little-
used to comfort nursing, so it would just be
Yeah.
like enough to make him feel like he was. And he still turns his head, like he still.
Yeah.
Which if I'm
Nuzzles.
producing milk, he probably
Yep.
still smells it.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure it's still there for him to
Yeah, yeah,
smell.
yeah.
But yeah, he still like goes for it and stuff. Jacob was super supportive too. The first time we went, like kind of out in public together with Dale, we went to a winery with his family. And I whipped it right out and nursed him at the table. And I think at first he was like, whoa, what? Because his brothers were there and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm
It's-
not like, hey,
Yeah.
check out this boob. Like,
Hey,
you're very
watch this.
You're very discreet about
Yes.
it. Like, I don't even think
You don't
they
want people to
realized what-
see.
I don't even think they realized what was happening.
Right.
That I was.
And it's not like we want everybody to see your nipple, okay?
Right,
Like,
yeah.
I don't
But
want my nipple out.
At first thing it was like, and afterwards I said like, did that make you uncomfortable? And he's like, no. He's like, I
was just
honestly was
surprised.
surprised you were comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad that you were comfortable
Yeah.
with it. But yeah, I think.
I talk a big game, but I'm like not comfortable with it. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah,
okay.
breastfeed your baby in public, but like when it
And
comes
that's
to
fine.
me,
You
and
don't
I'm
have
like,
to.
My
because
aunt that
we-
has 5 babies, she's like, I've never been, I will go sit in my car. She's like, I've never been comfortable.
Yeah.
And that's okay. You don't have to. Like,
Yeah.
whatever your comfort level is. If you're comfortable just like whipping it out in front of everybody, if you're comfortable wearing a cover or going in a private room, like you should be able to do whatever is going to be best. Cause that's part of the other reason why like you won't produce milk is because your anxiety is high or you're
yep,
just
It's all about the hormones. like
Yeah,
she said
the
in her
hormones.
head.
I
Well,
know.
I know. I think, and Courtney, you probably relate to this. It was so helpful when Jacob was home at the beginning because I needed water. I need this.
Yes.
You sit down and you realize you need all these things. And when you
You're
went back
you're
to
stuck.
work, I'm like,
What do I do?
Shit, I needed water. Like, and I'm trying to feed him.
I haven't ate today.
And you're still figuring out like the right way to get them to
yep.
latch when they're little. And it's
and
like
they're so little, so you're still like having to support them so much.
yeah, so it was so helpful when he was there to just be like, hey, I need this. Hey, I need that. So that was, and he always was making sure I was eating because I'm so bad about that. I still am. I'm not a good eater.
we haven't ate today.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, how do you
It
do
is
that? I have
almost
to-
I
noon. No, it
usually-
just turned noon.
I usually never eat breakfast or lunch. I'm a dinner person.
What? I
Yeah,
would
and
not
sometimes
survive. I'd pass
or
out.
sometimes I'll eat lunch at school and then not eat dinner. I don't know. I'm very bad. So Jacob was very sure to make
you
sure I
nourished.
was eating calories and making sure I was taking care of myself. So, and with me quitting, he was like the most supportive part of that like experience. So, and I always tease him. I'm like, yeah, I need a boob job because I
we need
loved
boob
having
jobs.
big boobs. I never had big boobs.
know.
And I loved it.
I know, I miss it.
Yeah, I miss
miss
like
it so much.
and
You could
I
fill
know
a bra
Jacob
and
misses
like
it.
yeah.
I know he misses them. So like,
Let's just help each other out.
So
Just buy me a bear.
yeah, but he knew my mental health needed to come first, along with Dale's health, of course. But he was like, "Kid, you can't cut out all this stuff. Like you already have a hard time eating. Now you're gonna cut out.
What are you gonna eat?
Soy is in literally every stupid thing you can imagine. I don't know why, but it's a filler in everything.
Another additive you don't need.
Yeah. So now even going into regular food with Dale, like I fed him toast. Had soy in it.
Yep.
I'm like, wow, mother of the year over here. Like, but why would you think bread would have soy in it? It's flat, like it's a wheat. I don't know.
Why would the
So,
doctor suggest this?
Why would they say to eat toast if he can't have it?
Stupid.
But-
Yeah.
Was Craig supportive for you?
He came around to it. I
Yeah.
think he was also very, and I was too, very determined for the breastfeeding journey and getting the breast milk because from a man's perspective, he could go off of what he would read.
Well, and it's natural.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be easy. It's supposed.
Yes.
It's
And we all thought
to
it
be beautiful.
We all thought it was gonna
Yeah.
be. And
Raw
so,
nipples are not beautiful. I'll tell you.
they're not.
And your nipples change. It's
Yeah.
weird. It's weird.
It's
no
so,
one
I
tells
remember
you
him
that.
saying that.
My
He's like,
nipples
your
are
nipple.
huge.
He's
Yeah.
like, your nipples are huge. Yeah.
Huge
He's
and
like,
they're
they
dark.
look. Yeah.
They're really dark.
You ever seen those TikToks where the people's like
The
taking
lip
their...
color.
No.
Oh.
I've seen that one too, where your nipples are your lip color.
Yeah.
But have you seen the one where
how you pick your
people
lipstick.
take their pumps off and they have like a hot
Oh.
dog? They're like, when I take my pump off, and they show their lips.
No, listen. I pumped in front of my mom and my friend Carly, my best friend, because you know what? I wish somebody would have done that for me, so I could
Absolutely.
see it. So I'm like, listen, if you're gonna want to have a baby one day, or if you don't, but here, so you could see real time, and I'm comfortable enough with you. And I remember my mom the first time, because she didn't breastfeed either. Well, she tried breastfeeding, but I don't think she ever got to the point of pumping. She was like, your nipple looks wild. Like,
Yeah.
it's doing the thing.
Look at the cows. Look
Yeah.
at the cows. Look at their nipples.
how do they get the milk out?
Yes.
Wait, I
It's
have one
so
more.
weird what our bodies
I know
do.
I said I had one more question. I have one more.
You have one more.
Let's
Okay.
hear it.
What, just because people, I know I have friends that that don't have kids yet that listen, what do you think is something people around you, whether it's your in-laws, your parents, your friends, can do to support people who are new to breastfeeding, trying to breastfeed? Is there
Feed
anything?
me.
Yeah,
Making
I was gonna
sure
say
you're-
check in on the mom.
Like,
Yeah.
I think when my one friend had her baby right before I had Cora, when I went to go visit her, I bought her a huge one of those tote bins from Walmart, and I literally just filled it up
Snacks.
with food for her.
Mm-hmm.
Food and like maybe an outfit or two, but I'm like, this is all for you. Like food, eat. Like, because even, I mean, I think Sam's out of it now, but the hunger
Oh,
is
God.
so
yeah. We need to talk
real.
about that, yeah.
Like, I would make my little egg, bacon, bagel breakfast,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd be working on lunch at the same time.
I gained weight because I
Yes.
don't know if it was because I was producing so much that I was starving, but I was
Starving.
I was eating like in the middle of the night. I'd eat like 6 granola bars.
Yeah,
like
me
I'm not
too.
even exaggerating.
Do you remember all the food
See,
I
I
used to
just-
have on my nightstand?
Yeah.
I think my problem was I wouldn't eat at that
yeah.
point. I
Oh,
would go
I
back
had
to sleep.
to. Like
I was sick.
Yeah,
Like, I was
it would make me
nauseous.
nauseous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, more than, I don't know, the hunger after, because I wasn't that hungry whenever she was in me.
Yeah.
And it was hard for me to eat because I was still getting sick.
Yep.
That's like a huge thing, though. Like, get them water bottles, get them body
Cute
armor,
ones.
get them things to hydrate them, and snacks that they can have in the
Yeah.
middle of the night, because like feeding yourself is one of the hardest things to do
In
when
those
you're stuck in a
first
chair all
couple
day.
months. Yep. Especially for breastfeeding. Yeah.
Especially.
Mine would be when I was like at family parties or things and I needed to pump or feed him and maybe I wasn't comfortable being out, going and sitting with the mom. Like if they're comfortable,
Yep.
like I don't know, if you're somewhere and your cousins go in to feed their baby, be like, do you want me to come sit with you? Like,
Ask
'cause
them, yeah.
it was so isolating.
Yep.
When
Yes.
you're at a party and everybody's having fun. Not
we
a
went to
party,
a
but
wedding.
I don't mean a party as
Yeah.
in like a rate. I mean
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a family gathering.
No, like we
or-
went to a
any type
wedding
of
and I had to
gathering.
leave
Right.
to go, and I
And
was
for
like, I don't
you-
want to go. And I had to
Right.
go sit in like the bridal suite. And some of the bridesmaids were in there and they like talked to me too.
Right.
And
But yeah, there
which
were
was
times
nice,
where
but-
I'd be like with Jacob's family because they live in Maryland, so that'd be who, and I'd have to like go sit in the bedroom and like you're just
Be
sitting
by
there by
yourself.
yourself, and you're like, man, I wish I was out there talking.
Hearing
If somebody
everybody-
would have just like, and I did talk to Jacob about that as we went on, and he got a lot better about like,
coming
with
with you.
you.
yeah, making sure like I wasn't feeling like
Dylan did that too. One of the
Yeah.
first parties we went to, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go upstairs and like feed Core," and he's like, "Do you want me to come with you?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "No,
Aw.
you don't have to leave." And he's like, "No, like I'm coming with you."
Yeah.
And I was like, glad he did, because I was up there for 15 minutes all by myself.
right. So that would probably be mine. And asking, I mean, not everybody's comfortable with somebody being there,
Right.
but if it's somebody who,
You're
like,
close
I
with.
just what the one person I wasn't comfortable was my father-in-law because I didn't want to make him feel uncomfortable. I don't
Yeah.
know. He's like an old,
Yeah,
that's like a weird, like
Yeah,
brother-in-laws.
you don't need it.
They're our age. They're just not going to look like
Yeah.
we have a good relationship. But I felt weird around him. He was
Right.
one person. I didn't want to do it. So anytime. But I'm comfortable with anybody else. So if my sister-in-law would have been like, hey, you want me to come sit with you? I'd have been like, that'd be awesome. Just to
Yeah.
like not feel alone.
But you don't
So-
really want to have to like ask them to
yeah,
like,
nobody
leave.
wants to be like, hey, you want to come sit up in the room?
I have to
boring
go
with me?
get milk out of my boobs. You want
Yeah,
to come with me
right, you wanna
or
come
what?
You want to see what I can do?
You want to see
I
a
could
cool
do it
magic
ri-
trick?
I still could do it right now. I'm just kidding.
Don't tempt the viewers, Katie.
I know.
Let's
That
paint
costs
these. Let's
money.
paint these pictures.
What would be yours? Anything to support you before we end? Well, not you, but
No, I
breastfeeding
like both of
people.
those. Yeah, I'd have to agree. Check in on the mom because she's going through a lot more mental things than you think, and she's carrying a lot. So we all love the babies.
Yeah,
but
and don't say stuff like, maybe you should give him formula. Maybe you, like, there's a different way to approach it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a common thing with older generations is they just kind of push
Jump
like
to that.
yeah, where your aunt seemed like she approached it in a way of like, hey, I think he might be hungry.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to step on your toes.
Yes, she
it
was
wasn't
very
just like, you need to
respectful.
stop breastfeeding. You need to do this. You need to.
And she knew. I think one of the days I like went to drop Cash off and I just like had a mental breakdown. I was like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
She's like, it's okay. Like you're gonna figure it out. Like you gotta do what's best for you too.
Right.
So that's just something I think to end on this. Like, yes, you want to do what's best for your baby, but you need to remember that you as the mom, as a woman, as a person, you need to check on yourself too.
You're
and do what's
not going to
best.
be the best mom you can be if you're not taking care of you.
Yeah.
Breast milk means nothing if
it's
you're not
enough. Yeah.
if you're not mentally present and mentally there, because your baby would trade you being there over breast milk any
formula,
day of the
yeah.
week.
They'll eat whatever you give them.
Yeah, they don't even know.
They don't.
They don't.
No idea. Literally have no idea. But also shout out to all moms who have made it, whether you breastfed for 2 weeks, a year, 2 years,
3 months,
3 months, 5
5
months,
months,
6 months,
I'm going on 6 months.
however long.
I'm very proud.
Yeah, you
be.
should be.
I'm excited for that.
I'm proud of you.
Excited for my half year.
Yeah, and whether you supplement or strictly breastfeed, pump. If you're a full-time pumper, that's Kayla's gonna do
Kayla,
it.
shout out to
Girl.
Kayla.
Seriously.
But
That
whatever-
is hard.
Whatever your journey has been, be proud of it, and
Even if it was for the first 3 hours in the hospital.
Yeah.
If it wasn't at all, but
Yeah, if you didn't have to at all.
yeah, whatever you were able to do. Hey,
we're here. Ask us. We have every single side of it, basically.
Yeah, no, we
that's
do.
the
I
beauty
think
of
we
our-
really do.
Yeah, whatever you need, we got it. You need someone to cry with you, me and Izzy are at pass.
I'm
into it.
not okay.
I feel so like unemotional. I'm like,
Oh no, I could literally cry about anything.
Me
so.
too.
I did tear up a little
My
bit. I just want
Zoloft
you
is
guys to
not
know.
working lately.
I feel like we should probably go check on Craig and Alice.
Oh yeah, my mom's here.
Yeah, and Cash.
Well, yeah, Cash, he's probably fine.
And
probably
our
good.
babies might.
He's
We need
probably
to
miss
wish
you.
Cash a happy 6 months.
Oh,
I'm gonna go. Now I'm gonna cry.
happy 6 months to Cash, and
Probably when this
happy
episode comes
breastfeeding
out.
journey to all of you.
Yes.
Or formula
Yay.
journeys.
Yes.
They're all beautiful.
Bye.
Katie never leave.
Yeah.